You can squeeze so much more juice out of each day if you just know how to spend your day, work effectively, and if you know what's going on inside of your body. The biggest bottleneck for me at the start was just being able to improve and optimize more or less like every aspect of my life. I didn't really have any real scheduled sleep or wake time. I was waking up, getting on my phone, replying to emails, messages, social media. I didn't really get much done, running around like a headless chicken. High stress levels, struggling to sleep, struggling to be able to switch off the sleep, because that is definitely my biggest win. Fix my sleep schedule with evening and morning wake up and sleep times. Kept me extremely accountable along that, and without the accountability I wouldn't have stuck to it. Energy levels much higher. I'm consistently energized throughout the day. I don't wake up tired. I'm not tired at the end of the day. Like I could go on for another 2-3 hours now if I needed to. I was on 4 grand when we started, and I just hit 12.5 last month.
Charlie, welcome, and thank you for doing this, my man.
No worries, man. Anytime.
Do an introduction for the people watching this, talking a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Cool. So I am a sales manager and mindset coach for a large offer selling land development packages in the UK, and quite a heavy workload, quite a lot of work involved. I mean, what else would you like to know, man?
No, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to for you to give me an introduction about who you are, what you do with your stuff online, how you make money online, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's the main sort of thing, really. Obviously, as a mindset coach as well, and recovering addict as well. So I'll help a lot of people get out of addiction and things like that. So it was always of interest for me to sort of improve my performance and things like this as well, to enable me to sort of upskill and help other people along the way as well.
Nice. Let's dig into kind of understanding a little bit more about what were you struggling with before starting to work together?
Predominantly, it was being able to really just sit and focus effectively for long periods of time on like one given task, as well as things that I thought I didn't have issues with, such as sleep, diet and routine. But I would say the biggest bottleneck for me at the start was just being able to improve and optimize more or less like every aspect of my life, my working life at least, and then obviously on the back end, like sorting out the little bits that would be holding me back throughout my work day because of my personal life and my habits in the background.
What other things, before we kind of spoke together, what other things did you try on your own, perhaps?
A few things, but I really did struggle with being able to actually sort of stick at it and really knowing what to do. So I've tried supplementation. I tried mushrooms and things like that, all those little little elixirs you get. I tried to sort of focus on my sleep a little bit more, and I did struggle with stress quite a lot, and my stress management was quite terrible. So I've tried multiple other methods of doing that, such as just getting a bit more in touch with your own human nature a little bit, and utilizing what we have around us, such as like training in routine, trying to optimize things I can in a sort of from a more free manner, such as using walks and getting out in the sea and being out in the woods and stuff like that, to really try and get back in touch and de-stress in that method as well.
Nice. Yeah, okay. I mean, the general best practices, the basics that you'll probably 9 out of 10 times you won't really fail trying to do. So, in a more granular level, what did your life and business look like in general before we started working together? So we kind of know what you were struggling with. We know the things that you were trying on your own, the things that you implemented. But what did your day-to-day or your life and your business look like before working together?
Erratic, really. I lacked routine, and as someone who is I pride myself on being able to build strong habits, right, and being able to stick to habits and routines and things like this, because it got me to where I am today. But actually looking at it, it was extremely erratic. I didn't really have any real scheduled sleep or wake time. I was waking up and just thinking I was doing the right thing, by waking up, getting on my phone, replying to emails, replying to messages, replying to social media. There wasn't really any real structure throughout my day, where the workload's very heavy. I'm managing multiple teams at once, and by being fast on responding to people, by doing what's in front of me as opposed to structuring my day in a way that's beneficial for myself and my teams, and obviously therefore my income, I didn't really get much done, to be honest with you. Running around like a headless chicken. Stress, high stress levels, struggling to sleep because of that, struggling to be able to switch off, on my phone, like working throughout the entirety of the evening, trying to pick up messages, trying to review people's calls, trying to put fires out that I hadn't really fully tied up during the day, because I was just all over the place most of the time.
And how did that affect your work, career-wise?
When you're like constantly in the business, you struggle to have like you struggle to see things from a high level, where you're just constantly running around in circles, and being able to actually nail progress is a lot more difficult when you're just trying to fix things as they come up, as opposed to preemptively doing things or having structures. So at this time of day I'll do this, at this time of day I'll do this, for example. Something as simple as that, if you don't have it, it bleeds across into just sort of like a mess. So the progress was low. I'd sort of had plateaued for a while as well with regard to work and being able to sort of get more in.
So you were kind of like stuck in the day-to-day stuff, like chasing your tail in a way, instead of zooming out and focusing on the big picture, what really moves the needle forward. Yeah,
like to an extent, obviously, like from a managerial standpoint, like as a manager, I still am like an important part of the growth within the company. So I do have to be able to zoom out. I do have to be able to have that time to look and see how I can actually optimize the team, as opposed to just coach them. And yeah, it is like you say, it was just sort of struggling to be able to zoom out, really.
Interesting. Tell me about what made this program stand out to you.
During it?
Before you joined?
To be honest, the testimonials and the ability to just really for you to be able to say you're able to work X amount of hours and still feel fresh, to say that you're able to have laser focus. To be honest with you, all of it, I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but the most primary thing for me, a few things, probably optimizing the sleep and the routine, and actual having like a decent schedule to work your life around in order for you to get the most out of work. And then secondly, while you're at work, how to properly structure and use the right protocols, the right systems to actually get what you're looking for on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to just like freestyling it, I guess.
And why exactly did you decide to invest into the program and to actually move forward?
Because I'm hell-bent on making sure I'm the best sort of version of who I can be. And if you don't have the data to look at, I'm very data-driven. If you don't have the data to look at, if you don't have an actual understanding of what's under the hood, you're never going to know, firstly, if you're even doing well, and secondly, how far you can take it. And I find a lot of people do blindly sort of walk through life or the entrepreneurial space thinking they're doing really well, but they're not actually really paying any attention to what their body's saying to them.
Yeah, it's interesting because the main people that we attract in terms of the clients that we work with are either people in sales and real estate and marketing, and generally those industries are very data driven. So you can kind of wing it until a certain point, 6, maybe 7 figures, but to really crush your competition and build a huge business, 8, 9, 10 figures, you really need to look at the data. And so for yourself, you probably are managing the sales team, and you need to be able to, you don't really rely on people's opinions to tell you if X closer is performing well and if this closer is not performing as well as they should be performing. You just look at the numbers because the numbers never lie. So it's interesting to me that a lot of those people in those positions aren't looking at the data that determine their own physical performance, like their own mental performance, their performance in the tasks that actually make money, energy, focus, mental clarity, etc., which is what you're talking about here. So, talking about that, dude, what was the most unexpected thing? I don't want you to tell me exactly what we did yet, or how your life looks like right now, or the results. But what was in terms of talking about the experience after, like, of working together, what was the most unexpected thing you gained?
Sleep health and routine, hands down.
What do you mean?
Well, I just didn't expect for, firstly, my sleep to be so bad, or secondly, for it to get as good as it does. Does that make sense?
Let's expand a little bit on that. Let's say, what have been your biggest wins since starting?
Yeah, getting my sleep back on track. Like everyone, live a very busy life, have a decent social life as well. There's a lot of things that I thought were good for me, but probably weren't so good in terms of, like, you know, just the irregularity of, like, a circadian rhythm, for example. I didn't actually understand the importance of it. And for the last 10 years, I haven't really paid any attention to it. And it sounds simple in theory, but if you actually do look at it on a granular level and you do sort it out, it's completely life-changing. And a lot of things, such as tiredness, you think it's food, you think it's this, you think it's that. If you actually look at the data and actually look at, for example, like the sleep, because that is definitely my biggest win, there's a lot of things, even if you feel like you're sleeping well, you're probably not. Or there's definitely certain things that could be improved on that would have a monumental difference if you just change a couple of things that if you don't know, you don't know.
Can you explain in like a minute or less exactly what we helped you do, exactly what we did by working together?
Okay, cool. So I struggle to get to sleep. I'm very stressed a lot of the time. My stress management is poor. So we worked out a way for me to properly wind down in the evening without the use of any sort of additional supplements, if you want to call it that. And anything additional that isn't going to benefit our sleep health or our mental or physical health in the long run. Looked at that, found an effective way for me to wind down in the evening, fix my sleep schedule with evening and morning wake up and sleep times. Kept me extremely accountable along that, and without the accountability I wouldn't have stuck to it. And also just improved on building momentum in the morning to make sure that I get a full sleep, but then I utilise that from the second I wake up to push momentum and create action throughout the day.
How has your energy focus or generally performance at work changed nowadays?
Energy levels, it's all increased by at least a multiple of 2x. Energy levels much higher. I'm consistently energized throughout the day. I don't wake up tired. I'm not tired at the end of the day. Like I could go on for another 2-3 hours now if I needed to, with distinct levels of clarity, and energy is just high post meal, pre-meal. Not particularly phased by anything that comes in my way that could divert my focus. I'm able to just stay pretty dialed in on one task if I need to do it. Nothing's going to take me away from it until it's done. Just all round better. I just feel like I'm firing.
Nice. And in terms of the income side of things, how much were you making before versus how much are you making now?
You're going to like this one. I was on $4,000 when we started, and I just hit 12.5 last month.
Cool, man. And why do you think you had this jump in income? Do you think that you would attribute most of it based on your like environment and skills, or was it a performance gap? You feel like?
I think it's definitely a mixture of the both. I couldn't credit all of it to you for sure, but I think a massive portion of it has enabled me to move the needle forward in a way that I wouldn't have been able to without you, in the sense that, you know, I got presented an opportunity quite early on to our relationship together coaching, and I would have took that opportunity on board. I would have done well at it anyway. Would I have made 12.5 grand last month? I very much doubt it, because I had the systems in place. I had the accountability along my side to help push me in the right direction. And I've also learned a lot of skills that I've been able to impart onto my team to enable them to stay firing, because without my additional knowledge, which is an absolute load now, like I've learned so much about optimization of health, sleep, focus, they would be as useless as myself with regard to being able to stick on one task. So they're struggling. A lot of the boys who've made a decent portion of my commission for this month struggle with their focus, struggle with their sleep, struggle with their morning routines, and therefore couldn't really get much done. And they were very inconsistent with regard to how they approach their days. And because of what I've learned here, because of what I've implemented myself on a daily basis, I'm able to then put that onto them, and obviously they've increased my income by some measure.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's great,
is.
man. So it's not only you that is benefiting from optimizing all these different areas of your health and performance, but it's also your team.
Yeah, you create an impact, mate, but beyond the people you teach.
That's sick, man. So I want to get some final words. First and foremost, who would you recommend this to?
Realistically, well, anyone, but realistically, anyone who is looking to take that next step. If you're sat at 5 to 10k a month, there's a lot more you could be doing to move that needle a little bit higher with regard to just sorting your day out, just sorting your sleep out. You can squeeze so much more juice out of each day if you just know how to spend your day, if you know how to work effectively, and if you know what's going on inside of your body. Without any of the tests that we had done, without any of the stuff we'd implemented, I wouldn't have known any of it. So anyone who's looking to optimize and get to that next level, in entrepreneurship specifically.
I mean, you said something that kind of got my attention, which was without any of the tests and the data that we gathered, you wouldn't have known any of it. So can you elaborate a little bit on that to give me more clarity on what you mean?
Yeah, of course. So obviously we took my bloods, we took my gut microbiome test, both of which are obviously extremely important, like the hormones that are running around our blood on a daily basis. What are they like? What are the levels? Do we have high tests? Do we have low tests? What are your stress hormones like? All of this is super important for someone like me to be able to then effectively combat if I've got, bad stress tolerance, if I've got high cortisol, if I've got low testosterone, whatever it is, we need to be able to fix that. Otherwise, no matter what we do in life, if our bodies aren't working properly, we're not going to get the most out of it. My gut microbiome, my gut was in tatters. It was in a really bad way through like my previous history with abusing myself. And without actually taking a look under the hood, I wouldn't have known that. I just knew I felt bad. I knew I felt tired. I knew I wasn't getting the most out of it. And most of the function in our brain is related to our gut. So if you don't know this, I'll challenge anyone who says that they're healthy. I'll challenge anyone that says that they know what's going on inside of them if they haven't looked. And if they say they're dull, they say they're healthy, they say they're focused, I'd also challenge them to go and put their money where their mouth is and show it.
Yeah. It's the same thing as, for example, saying that you have a certain number of money in your bank account, but not really having access to the app to actually show the money or something like that.
Yeah.
And let's say something is watching this and is probably contemplating joining, because that's probably the people who watch those kinds of videos that in my channel. What would you say to that person sitting on the fence, contemplating if he wants to join or not join, if it's the right thing for him or if it's not the right thing for him?
What's the downside of joining? Like, you're out of pocket, you know exactly what's wrong with you. You don't stick to whatever you do, but you've got the protocols to go and fix that. The only downside of joining is not sticking to it. But the upside of joining is 2x, 4x, 10x your income, 2x, 4x, 10x your health. Actually work out how to work effectively and take these skills that cost a small amount of money forwards into you for the rest of your life, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. Go and impart that to someone else, live properly and make the most out of it. And also, you only get one life, so why damage yourself unduly and shave 5-10 years off your life because you don't know what you're doing?
That's a great perspective, dude. That's a great perspective. And I hope this kind of because I get a lot of clients here in the testimonials and the interviews, and a lot of them share different perspectives. I like that perspective, and I hope this helps whoever's watching this to see if this is the right decision, first of all, and also think or start considering the importance of health and all those different areas of performance. For example, testosterone levels, gut health, sleep quality, stress management, all those different areas that really directly impact how you show up on your team meetings, how you lead your team, how you make decisions in the business, and how resilient you are under chaos and under high stakes environments. So dude, do you have any, this was great, do you have any closing thoughts for me here?
Do it, and do it sooner.
For sure. So we'll close here. Thank you for doing this, my man. I hope this was useful to you, whoever's watching this right now. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.